Dashcam.
Dashcam. Dashcam.
And a good one.
Unboxing, what an absolute waste of time that is. Tyre pressure sensors, for you my friend, front and back, check. Quick release mount, for you my friend, check. Lens hood, because it's bloody hot here in Thailand, check. And last but not least, the actual unit itself. AIO-6 MAX and the AIO-6 LTE are modular units. They are designed to be added to suit your personal preference. You have to pay extra for that. The LTE has the ability to put a SIM card in it. So this is basically it in a nutshell. So we will open up our bags of goodies. We will have stuff to put on the bike. These inline connectors are bloody awful. I don't like them. They're not weatherproof. They are designed for a particular gauge of wire, and if you put the wrong gauge of wire in it, you're actually going to be cutting the wire conductor itself rather than the insulation. I just don't like them. Power lead, like I did in that video when I was talking about wiring your DRLs to your bike. You always try and have the fuse as close as you can to the battery. Everywhere between there and there, this little bit here is not protected, but everywhere upstream from here, all this is protected, which means your unit's protected by this little fuse. That is the loom that goes into the back of there. 2 screws incorporated, that goes in there, that's your power system, that's it. Now we've got a quick release. This is no longer needed. This becomes your power. There's your USB-C, that's screwed in there, and that's to be in conjunction with the power going to the bike. But we'll show you guys all that later on. CHIGEE is supposed to be your more upper quality of suppliers or manufacturers, and so far from what I've seen, with the nice metal mount, the blue Loctite on the screws, quality hardware, so far so good. On the bike, we currently have my camera from all my videos that I do, and my phone. I have a power supply. When you're using maps and you're using the GPS and your screen's on, this gets quite warm. It sucks the battery dry, which is the reason why I decided to buy that. Ideally, I would like to mount the CHIGEE here. Nice and protected by the screen. Any heavy rain, if I get caught in storms, which you will do here in Thailand, any heavy rain, it's got a little bit of protection, and it's got a little bit of airflow up the back of the unit. Still yet to be determined, but I think it's going to be on the handlebars. So what we need to do is get rid of our quad lock. We can remove our power supply for the time being and neaten all that up, and then I'll be running the cables down and along with the main loom that comes in for the rest of the bike. Okay, so we're going to change the standard mount to the quick mount. Okay, just a quick note. So this is our power cord, and this is a cat that's decided just to walk through. You right there, Talon? Hey. CHIGEE, it's got to be watching you. Huh? CHIGEE, can I get back to work now? Is that all right? Come on. Here you go. But just have a look at them, orientate them so they're roughly matching the groove in the female and the groove in the male. Wind it all the way in and a little bit tighter, and that's now a nice waterproof connection. So I use cloth tape for all my electrical connections. This red one is never going to be coming apart again. So starting on the insulated, starting on the rubber. So that's nicely taped together. Just pat down the end, pat them all down the overlay. That is now permanent, and that's not going to come undone. Okay, so golden rule, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and others, disconnect negative first, positive terminal of the battery, disconnect that one. What we want is we want our positive. Oh, we've got our pointer back again. Hello, pointer. Oh, come with me. So we have our positive wire, the red one, negative wire, the black one, and our signal wire. There's our yellow wire taking signal from the ignition circuit. And so we are going to make sure our wires are going to route the way we want them to, down beside the battery, and then we should be pretty clear with that. How you going, mate? You going good? You had enough? All right, see ya. Turn straight around, come back again. Oi. All right, how about we use the back end? These might be better pointers. Oh, we got double pointer. So, no, you're not gonna do it. All right, go away, go on. I can now splice this wire, a butt connector, and on these bloody awful things, you'll see one passes all the way through, one is a dead end. Open up our jaws a little bit. This wire is a pass through. So we'll pass that, get that in there. Make sure it's sitting in there, which it is. Yep. Our yellow wire, which is now goes into the dead end. Put that through until it hits home. And now we want to push this connector through. And again, this is another reason why, even though the ignition is off, this is another reason why we've disconnected the batteries. I'm using, you know, I could touch the frame and this at the same time and that would create a short. So it's always good practice to disconnect your battery. Squeeze this bloody awful thing through. It's now gone through and cut both wires. We put this on until it clips. That keeps that together, and this now, when I turn the ignition on, this now will be supplied power. So here's our positive wire, and that is going to go on first. It's big, it's making the big connection to the big terminals of the battery. It's not going to be held off the battery by placing this underneath. That's not a good idea. You're losing contact surface for the large current that these big wires are going to draw. So they go down first, then you're remembering our golden rule, we do positive first when we're reconnecting. Grab our socket and tighten it down. So the large current wire is the first touching the battery terminal, and the same with the negative. But that is now wire ready for the CHIGEE. And as I say, I'm going to zip tie all this down, make it all nice and neat, but for the time being, let's just see what happens when we hook everything up. These things here, what do you reckon, Kat? SD cards, 256, 64, 64, 32, 128, 512 gigabyte cards. CHIGEE, and most systems will tell you that you need to have the right card and have a good quality. These are V30 cards. But if you have a look on the CHIGEE website, it will tell you what card to use. 512 is too big, 64s, they will work. Again, they must be V30 or U30 for their right speed. The 128 and the 256 are your two cards that from my choices, I'm going to use. They're original, they're good quality, they are the correct writing speed for this unit to accept. If it's just purely for navigation and to be paired with your phone for music, etc., you don't need the SD card, but I do. So I'm going to pull off my protective cover for the SD card. There's the SD card slot. I'm going to go with a 128 gig. And important to note that these cards have a little notch on them. If you haven't put cards in before, see this little notch? That's a retaining notch. That notch there is so when you click the card in, it stays in. And it'll only go in one way. More often than not, if you have a look at any slot for your SD cards, you'll see that the slot is orientated to one side. It's not exactly in the middle, but it's more to the right. More often than not, all the electrical connectors are going to be on the thicker side. There's the electrical connectors there, so we're going to test this theory. Drop the card in, see whether the card sits in square light pressure, don't push too hard, but it's gone in square, and then push the card all the way home, and you can see it stays in now. One is a bigger diameter, one is a smaller. There's the bigger, there's the smaller, so it goes in that way. Nice little O-rings on them. So push them in, grab your tool and screw this in home. Remember, these are tiny screws, they don't require Arnie Schwarzenegger to tighten them. So in, just finger tight, press on the cover again to make sure it's all seated. Now, dun dun dun, this is ready to be put on the bike. Let's see whether it works. Got our wiring sort of tidied up, still got to put our battery cover on, but let's see whether this girl actually powers up. Click, everything is still loose. Turn our ignition on, and hopefully this girl will fire up. CHIGEE. So this is the first turn on. It's probably going to want to check for updates. It's going to ask us for language, English, tap, and OK. Time zone. What is the time zone for Thailand? Bugger if I know. Hey Siri, what's the official time zone for Thailand?
I found 2 UTC plus 7 o'clock.
Scroll down, UTC plus 7. OK, connect now. Suet 5G, numbers 00198 tick, connecting. Phone, connection successful. Okay, activate immediately, shake up. Hopefully there's not too much glare. Activation success. Okay. Please use micro SD card with a transfer speed rate of U3. So it's reminding you again to use the correct speed of card. Please ensure your micro SD transfer speed, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Avoid fixing camera in strong vibration areas. Adjust camera angle. Do not operate device while driving to avoid danger. Phone, yep. So we have done that successfully. Now I think we need to pair our phone. So altitude, wow, okay. So let's get our phone up and running. Go to Bluetooth. So we're waiting for other devices. CHIGEE, there we go, she's there. Allow everything. Connect. Welcome to CarPlay. Continue. Is it there? There it is, we're connected. So where do we go to CarPlay? So we'll give that a play in a little bit, but it looks like it's all working, except for when we have to put the cameras on. So that's a good thing.
3 days later.
And they've just arrived, so we've got the old system out, and now it's unboxing time. Boring. Let's give the CHIGEE, oh, hello mate. Let's give some CHIGEE some eyes so we can see. Okay, mount kits. Stick-ons, I don't like stick-ons. How do I know the bloody things aren't going to fall off? So we have front and rear. This most likely will be the rear because it's so long. So that's our camera back. This is our camera front. Just checking, yep, stainless steel. Not magnetic, magnetic. So that's good. All the hardware is stainless steel, as I said before, so that's all good. Righto, so we've got the camera back, routed through. We'll take up all the excess cable up here when we do all our cable management there. We've got the front one, not mounted yet, but we've got enough slack, so we can deal with that there. Now we'll just fish out our cables from the install before, which we've got here. There's our permanent main power feed coming from all these wires down to here. And these are our ones we're going to connect the front and back cameras to. So we will take off. This is sort of what I suggested you do, just to cover up these and tuck them in there with the main loom. Make sure it's not on anything hot, not going to obstruct the fan, not on anything sharp. So we're just going to rip our temporary insulation off so we can get to our connectors. So we want F to F, looking for our slots, getting them rotated and lined up. That's it. Screw them in tight. And our rear, camera B for back, look for our slots, rotate the cables so they go into each other, tighten up our lock rings, I suppose you'd call them. Nice and tight. And now I am going to just tape them up just so they have got an extra layer of insulation and to stop any water ingress. Make sure I don't cut myself or the frame. Just give that a little pat down and we'll do the other camera. Okay, finish it off with a nice straight edge. Pat it down, tuck the whole loom back into the engine loom. Again, making sure it's not touching anything hot. I can get to it later if I need to service it. And that is done. Now we just got to mount the front camera, the back camera, tidy up our excess cables. We're going to use one of these lovely solder joints. I like these joints. And we're going to utilize the fuse that was on the old Dashcam system, taking ignition power. So when you turn the ignition on, the power comes on, it excites the system and tells the system to go on and draw current from there. So that is that little girl. So we will use that and we heat shrink it together and it's very easy to do. All right, we'll get to that later. Okay, just using some mild solvent out of the can. We want to clean the area where we want the pad to stick so it's absolutely no grease or grime, and give the tape its best chance to do its job. And now we will attempt to stick this on forever. So we've got, try not to put our fingers on it too much. Get our mounting pad square. And push it on. And look at that, that's coming off already. This is why I don't like stick-on bloody tape, especially for something as important as a dash camera. Not happy, Jan. Anyway, we will see how we go. It's going to stick to that, all right. All right, push it down. If I've got to drill some holes through here for the sake of keeping this camera with the motorbike and not leaving the chat, I will. All right, we've got our 3M tape on our rear camera. Come on, come to Papa. There we go. So we know where our middle is. Our orientation's all right. We don't want it out, we want it in a little bit. Looks pretty good. Let's send it home, baby. All right, and hopefully we have now given Mr. CHIGEE some eyes. So he, or she, I don't know whether you call this a he or a she, not obstructing our tail light, not obstructing our extra brake lights, tail light and brake lights, not obstructing our number plate light, and we can just adjust that up or down as we need to. It feels pretty good. I know that the 3M tape is pretty good stuff, but I'm always skeptical about just sticking things on that are pretty important. But we're pretty happy with that. Let's move on. Okay, so we've got our ignition wire wrapped together. We've got our solder connection on, so we'll just slide that over. Get the solder right over the silver part where it needs to be. Fire up the heat gun. And let's melt that solder. Come on, girl. You can do it. Come on. There we go. So we will give this a little wrap up and just work our way over this connection. And it's not necessary, but I don't know how thin this melted plastic has gotten with all the heat that I've put on it. It is cheap insurance. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stuff that I'm doing and that you are getting something out of it. I would really love it if you guys were to give me a thumbs up, maybe a comment and a subscription. Costs you nothing and it would really help. And also I'm going to put a link for this CHIGEE down in the description below for a Shopee. It is an affiliate link, costs you nothing. And so we have now got our nice system all tucked away nicely. Now let's see if we have eyes. Contact CHIGEE. Doesn't take that long to fire up. Okay, back to home. Camera. Dun dun dun. There's our front and rear. Well, that's our front and that's our rear. Okay, so we need to rotate our rear. Heaps. Somewhere around there. Check our horizon. Oh, wrong way. So that looks fairly good. Just tighten the sucker a little bit more and now bring it down. And when we get out on the road, I might just give this a little extra orientation. See where we are. That's looking fairly good. Front needs to be turned a little bit. That horizon's pretty good. Yep, happy with that. Tighten this girl up. And again, we will deal with the up and down orientation. That's fairly square. Yep, pretty happy with that. All right, getting dark now. Time for tucker. We'll come back out tomorrow and we'll continue on. Peripheral, tyre pressure sensor. We're in PSI and centigrade. All right, so front wheel, we'll go and screw that in. Sorry about the noise, we've got rain coming now. So that is not flashing. We'll go to the rear, put the rear on. Bingo. So we have on our TPMS, we've got front wheel at 31 degrees, 32 PSI, rear one at 36 PSI, 33 degrees, which is spot on. It's where I want it to be. However, there's a low pressure alarm and a high pressure alarm that you can set for your front and rear. Got a slow leak and you want it to audibly let you know, or visually, I don't know about audibly, let you know that you've got a tyre pressure issue. So that's a good thing. So we'll go back to our altitude. And let's climb that hill again. And we'll talk more about the AIO-6 system. Lookout, it's just over the crest hill. There's a restaurant off to the right there, but I think it's closed for renos at the moment. There's a restaurant in there. So we'll go up to the lookout, where there's a nice little heart. And this is Surat Thani. So what other features did we forget to tell you about on this girl? Sunset, WTF. Why it has sunset ability on it, I don't know, but it's another quirk, another good thing to have, so why not? Compare with action cameras. So we're paired with this Ace Pro now, and it'll compare with other cameras like your GoPros. The ability to remove speed on your dash cam footage. In my other video about Thai road psychology, which is worth a look, I explain the reasons why, if you can, remove the speed display off your footage on your dash cam. So that's worth a look if you're so inclined. That would be nice. Have a look, have a gander, give us a subscribe, a like, blah, blah, blah. It all helps, folks, so that would be really handy if you could do that. If you have a center intercom system that you're piping your phone through and your music through and what have you, that is uninterrupted when you use the CHIGEE. The CHIGEE has a dual band Bluetooth system where it will uninterrupt your pairing between your phone and your headset so that the quality remains the same, and that's all done in your various features. CarPlay, that's a little bit slow to respond, but it does the job, and as I say, navigation was one of the main reasons why I bought this, as well as the Dashcam. Quick release, as I said before, it's got a little screw on the back here that you tighten if you want to be able to lock it in place. I'm happy with it. Time will tell whether it lasts a long time or not, and I'll certainly get back to you with the video if there's any issues. Whatever apps you've got on your CarPlay, that is dependent upon your phone, not the CHIGEE. There's a lot of apps that won't come up on your screen because Apple has put a block on it, and I'm sure Android does the same. So you can add apps to it, you can delete apps from it, you can have many apps on this screen, scroll through, and you can populate it and fill it up with whatever you want. Bloody beautiful, mate. Excellent. Give us a subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Easy peasy, cheap, cost you nothing. Helps me heaps. Righto.